You're from UCB,
Yeah,
right?
Upright Citizens Brigade. My improv, I came in New York and I started with them. I was like one of their first students. So my teachers in improv were Amy Poehler, Matt Walsh, Matt Besser, and Ian Roberts.
Wow.
So I felt blessed that I got to learn from such unbelievably talented people.
But you do it all. So you do improv. You're doing these sketches. What do you like better, acting? And you also do stand-up. Didn't you do some
I did stand-up for a while. When I was on The Daily Show, I shared an office with John Oliver.
Yeah.
And I used to make him come down to the Upright Citizens Brigade to do monologues for the Ass Cat show, which is just a long-form improv show.
Right.
And then he said, all right, now you got to come with me and do stand-up. And I was like, oh, dude, I suck at stand-up. I tried it. I hated it. They hate me. You know, it just was, because I went to the comic strip on the Upper East Side.
Yeah.
And there was a comedian up there who was teaching the classes. The first thing I did when I got to New York, I took his class. D.F. Swinley, Sweden? I don't know what his name is.
He's the consummate comedy professor. Everybody knows who he is. D.F. Swinley.
But I went in there.
Sometimes I'll go to a show and I'll listen to somebody in the audience is roaring and they go, "This is amazing." Well, he's no D.F. Swim. I will say that.
Well, when I got to New York, I was on active duty in the Marines, and I had no idea how I was going to do comedy and show business, but be an actor or a comedian, which I wanted to do. I knew I wanted it. I didn't know how. And the only thing I knew was I loved storytelling comedians like Eddie Murphy, or, I liked the storytelling.
Yes.
And so that I thought that's, if I do anything, I'll be a storyteller type comedian. And when I got to this class, he was like, no. We do 3 jokes per minute, set up, punch, set up, punch, set up, punch, set up, punch.
That's so DFS. It is.
And so I was like, all right. So I tried to do it his way. I hated it. It was kind of like putting on a really uncomfortable shoe. And then I found the Upright Citizens Brigade, and I was like, oh, this is what I'm doing. So I let go of stand up. But then when I was with John, he was like, he made me go with him to these clubs, and he was a bachelor. I was a geographical bachelor. I mean, my family was on the West Coast. I was on the East Coast. And
a geographical bachelor.
Just meaning, I wasn't.
If you're not with the wife, then you're not married.
I mean, am I missing something?
I don't know. Again, you're teaching us something that we didn't know. Are you single? Geographically. Do you see her? And there is no her.
50-mile radius. What are we talking? But then, so I would go out with John, because we both didn't. After work, I would walk home, and that was it. That was what I would do, because anything else was bad. If I went out, I would spend money or get in trouble. So there was no point in me going out.
Right.
So when John was like, let's go, well, because New York's so great, you can hit 4 or 5 mics in a night. You just jump in a cab and go to the next one. Jump in a cab, go to the next one. And I was able to build a set, and he kind of helped me understand how to do that. And I was very grateful. So then I was able to build a set and tour it for several years. And I really enjoyed that. That was great. But then I stopped doing that when I got Fox NFL. So.
See that? Mm-hmm. What does that teach you?
Just to work really hard at something, and then you're done.
There is a finish line. There is a finish line. Don't let anybody tell you.
You don't miss stand-up? You don't want to do stand-up anymore? You don't want to do stand-up anymore?
No, I would love to. I just remember it took me a year, maybe 14 to 15 months to build that set, that 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And it was grinding.
Yeah.
And so
people don't realize
building a set is hard. And then when
people
you
don't
tour,
realize, I want to just say to the people that if it could take you almost a month to come up with a lot of jokes. That people don't realize that's the toughest thing in the world. Like, they look at people who are, working on our highways or
like manual
solving
labor and stuff, but
manual
it's
labor, people looking for a cure for cancer, people working in labs.
Total bullshit.
Bullshit. They don't realize that comedy, you could spend almost a year coming up with like silly ideas and jokes, and then what do you got to show for it? Like a Netflix special or something like that? Really, it's not worth it. That's why if you're even thinking of going into comedy, I would do hard labor.
Yeah, absolutely grab a hammer.
And I know right now all the DF fans are saying, "What the fuck are you talking about? What are you talking about? Go see DF in New York and start building." Who is it?
I don't even know if I got the initials right, to be honest with you.
Really?
The DF's not right?
I don't know.
So let's call it like it is. Where did you learn comedy? Was it? So you're close to your kids? Your kids, are they fans?
Yeah, well, I think so. I'm fans of theirs. I think they're fans of mine.